Once again, everybody. So good, so good, so good. What's going on, everybody? My name is D, and welcome back to D's Rides, the channel with vlogs, how-tos, and car reviews. And today, everybody, we are going to discuss the article that MotorTrend put out on February 8th, so which is about a week ago, about the 2022 Corvette Z06. And so I didn't get a chance to read it right off the bat. This is the first time that I've been able to actually sit down and digest what was in the article. And you know how sometimes when you're reading something and you just are kind of like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. There's just some different things that you can actually, there's proof. You can actually go search for it and see that what is in an article is completely wrong. And so we're about to go through that. I'm just gonna kind of lay out a few things in the article that I thought probably could have been researched a little bit better and just was not true. First of all, I do want to say that I am a fan of MotorTrend. I do watch their videos on YouTube, so I do respect MotorTrend. This isn't something that's bashing them or anything like that, but I will admit there has been some articles that MotorTrend has put out before that has been questionable. So this article is one of those things that I saw that just had some issues with it. And so I'm just gonna go through a few of these and just tell you what I have issues with. And let me know if you guys had noticed the exact same thing, because I don't think I'm the only one that kind of picked up on these. You know, I just have a platform to kind of relay it to you. So I know that some of you guys probably were thinking the exact same thing. So let me know down in the comments below. They touted this gentleman who is their informant, if you will, or inside contact. And his name is Deep Purple, him or her. And they touted the fact that here's what they said. How good a source is Deep Purple? They nailed that the 2022 Cadillac CT5V Blackwing would have a supercharged LT4 and a manual. Okay, and this is why I should believe what this person says. Hell, back in 2018, I nailed the fact that the ZR1 was only going to be a one-year run, but that doesn't make me any more credible.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Or have some type of deep inside knowledge about what's going on inside GM. And so I just think kind of touting that, it didn't really do it for me. That didn't say, oh yeah, hell yeah, I should be believing this person. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It started to talk about some of the specs that we kind of knew or speculated that it may have, like the naturally aspirated 5.5 liter flat plane crank engine. It believes that the horsepower will fall into the range of 615 to 625, which is believable. But here is where we start to have the problem. And so I will read you verbatim what it says. It says price. I'm hearing around 8,000, which is obviously too good to be true and close to 10K less expensive than the last Z06. Can anybody tell me what is wrong with what was just said? I can. The Z06 was not $10,000 less than $80,000. It was not $70,000 car. The 2019 Z06 1LZ was $81,995. So I'm not sure where they're getting that this is 10K less. Now, if they were comparing it to the 3LZ, which was about 90,000, would make it true. However, since when are we comparing the previous generation's top trim level to the new generation's lowest trim level? That makes no sense. I think as we start to get up into the higher trim levels of the C8, you will start to see a stark difference between what the C7 generation had and what the C8 price point was, because of, I believe, the research and development that was needed for this car. You'll start to see those disparities between the two. Right now, I think GM, when they decided to come out with the C8, they felt that they needed to put that at $49,995. They still wanted to tout that this was going to be the working man's car, and even though this is turned into a mid-engine car, it was still going to be a car that the average person could own. However, I think that as the years started to go on, which has only been, year and a half or so, that $49,995 started to get a little bit higher and it was being reported that it was going to be higher, but then COVID and supply chain issues hit, and because a lot of people didn't get the first year run of the car and they were on waiting lists, GM decided to keep the price where it was. So that was one of the big issues I had. So another issue that ended up coming out is, and I laugh every time I see this because I think it's funny. They are touting, and there has been several reports of this, of a 2023 ZR1. Come on, man. 3 model years into the C8, and you think they are going to put out a flagship car? That is unheard of. That's not, no, that's not going to happen. I'll bet my paycheck on that that's not going to happen. Coupled with the fact that I truly believe that the C8 is going to be one of the longer run generations in Corvette history. And because of all those different variants that they are putting out, and because of the issues they are having with COVID and supply chain issues right off the bat, I think that that is what is going to ensure that this generation is a lot longer. And then on top of that, just the research and development that it took for the C8. I think they're going to want to recoup that money. So I just do not see a 2023 Corvette ZR1 that is going to come out. And then on top of that, they also said that there's going to be a PHEV that is going to come out at the same time. I don't think that for the C8 generation, I don't believe there's going to be a ZR1. And hear me out. I know a lot of people are like, what? Get out of here. You want to keep these cars special. You want to keep the Zora or the ZR1. You want to keep those names special. Now, I think you can swap the ZR1 for the Zora, bring in that Zora to be the flagship car for this generation. I think if you put out those two at the same time, the ZR1 and the Zora, you're going to water down the ZR1 name. And I think the ZR1 is a name that GM wants to keep as a flagship, but they can also bring in the Zora to either be some type of special edition trim level, or a trim level that they'll bring in to completely replace for this generation the ZR1. So those were just some of the things within this article that kind of had me a couple minutes into reading. I didn't necessarily want to read it anymore because I was just like, this is wrong. And I get it, don't get me wrong. I know that a lot of other publications are touting these same things, but people are now referencing this article in their articles. And so I get it. A lot of people want to be the first to report things and say, hey, we have some inside intel because it sells. But at the same time, at what point do you start kind of sacrificing your credibility on what you're reporting? You want to ensure that you're reporting fact-based stuff and then clearly letting people know that, hey, this is opinion-based. I just wouldn't have did it. And so when I read that, when I read something that tells me that you have solid intel on something, but then some of the little stuff is not correct. And granted, the C8 is all new. And so that means that a lot of other stuff is all new as well as far as how they roll stuff out. But I do think that GM has a recipe for how they roll out cars. And over the years, it's been consistent. And I don't think, like I said, a flagship car coming out in model year 3, nah, I just don't see it. I don't see it whatsoever. And so, but like I said, I am a fan of MotorTrend. I do watch their YouTube channels and some of the other stuff that they have. So, you know, they have a lot of different authors and journalists and things of that nature there. So, but I just think that if there's any type of QCing being done in the review process, I'd be like, are you sure you want to be as authoritative as you are on this particular point? If they decided to, yeah, let's run with it, then so be it. But me, I would not have been comfortable with putting that out there and saying that this person is, yeah, he's solid. You can believe what he says because he got this right. There's just not enough of a track record there of him or her consistently getting things right to where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is solid intel. The broken clock is right at least twice a day. So That's all that I gotta say about that. So everybody, I'd like to thank you very much for coming to the channel. If you like the video, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. If you like the channel, make sure you go ahead and smash or punch or do whatever. Drop kick that subscribe button. And remember to hit that bell notification button so each and every time I come out with a video, you'll be notified. And as always, everybody, remember, everyone deployed, and I'm out.